8 years ago when I first started my very first Etsy store. Looking back, I made so many mistakes that I should have and could have avoided. So I now that I teach Etsy, I get to hear a lot of those mistakes kind of repeated back to me. And I really wanted to go in and make a video which kind of goes through the top 3 mistakes I hear and made myself so you can avoid them when you're starting your Etsy store. So here's 3 mistakes to avoid as a brand new Etsy seller. So one big question I get probably almost daily from my communities is the question of saturation. So is Etsy way too saturated for new sellers to sort of jump on board and start selling digital products? Well, the reason this is mistake number one is it's because it's this almost kind of debilitating fear that there's no room in the market for you, and it's just simply untrue. 2 reasons that you shouldn't feel this way. So number one is Etsy is growing all the time. So over the last, well, I think it was last year, it did 2.32 billion in sales through the site. Like that's phenomenal. But the fact that it's growing as well is a really good sign. So every year, sort of an average growth rate is 34% for Etsy, and it just keeps going and going and going. And what this does is it not only makes more room in the market for, I guess, all the people who are coming, finding digital products, buying things like invitations, templates for business, all of that good stuff. Along with that, it's kind of mutating the industry as well. So basically when I started my store 8 years ago, there was no such thing as like a full-time mock-up business. Now, a mock-up is basically just photographs of a digital product, and basically people buy them and they put their own digital products inside the mock-up. So this wasn't like a main business or anything. And now 8 years later, people are making a full-time living selling mock-ups. People are also selling clip art and fueling the digital product industry itself. Like have a look at one of my favorite stores, Create the Cut. They just hit over 58,000 sales in their clip art store. This is selling watercolor clip art. It's such a niche thing, but they've had so much success in their area. So as you can see, the industry, while it's growing with all of the things that we sort of standardly know as digital products, it is also growing into this new direction where there's room for even more in the industry. Now, reason number 2 for not fearing market saturation is yes, there's a lot of stores on Etsy, but a lot of them are hobbyists or stores that are kind of started with great intentions and then kind of abandoned when people kind of lose the momentum. So it is a relatively, and I say this with a lot of love, it's a pretty low bar when it comes to Etsy stores. Not every single Etsy store on there is mega successful, is going to be even competition for you if you approach your Etsy store with a business mindset. Now, this is really vital to the success of your store. From day one, you need to go in and be like, right, this is my business. I'm going to show up and treat it like it's my business. I'm going to be adding products consistently. I'm going to be doing the right things and problem solving as I go along. So when you hit those things, those roadblocks in the way of your success, instead of giving up, you persevere and you keep going until you make it work. Whatever it takes, work hard and get it up and running. Big mistake number 2 is picking a first product, which is super difficult. Now, when you are creating your very first product on Etsy, you're already facing a massive learning curve. You not only have to research a product, you have to make it, you have to do the product images, description, you have to make sure the SEO is good on your titles and tags, and then you have to post it live. So all of that can be completely overwhelming if you pick a very difficult product. An example of an extremely difficult product that I see a lot of first timers pick is like a 500-page digital planner. It doesn't need to be this complicated, and the fact is your first product most likely won't sell. I know that's a hard to swallow fact, but my first product definitely didn't sell. My second product didn't sell. In fact, it took me 2 months to even get my first sale on Etsy. But if I gave up when I got no sales and I quit a month after trying, I wouldn't be where I am now. So it's really important not give up, not be discouraged, and approach this first product kind of like a test run. So for your first product, pick something simple that you can design relatively quickly. I've got some ideas for you. So great first products include affirmation cards, graphics for blogs or websites, just banner packs, because you don't have to do a huge number of banners inside. Thank you cards for Etsy sellers are really great because obviously there's thousands of Etsy sellers and Etsy stores on the platform who would want to purchase those. Then we've also got invitations. So I'm not talking about a big bundle with all the extras, just a single invitation. And then finally, also party games are a great one to jump on. So just really simple 5x7 party games can make a first product that's going to be really easy to get up straight away. And normally they do sell quite well, the party games. Mistake number 3 is over polishing. So I see a lot of my students kind of get stuck polishing a product because they don't feel like it's ready to go out into the world. Like when they put it out there, they kind of have this fear that people are going to criticize them and look at it for being like their first product, when really your first product is that test run. So when I say don't over polish, it's not an excuse to obviously not research a product or create something which is just a very, like, there's no effort put into the mock-ups and it's just a product which you're doing purely for the speed of getting it up, because that's not great either. But when I say don't over polish, I mean you can do 5 product images instead of 10. You can put your energy into the thumbnail and then just have generic product images for the rest of them. Things like that can speed up the process. Now, the 3 main things that you need to focus on when you are uploading those first listings into your store is number 1, again, putting your energy into the thumbnail. This is the click-through point for, this is basically what is going to call customers to your store. So that one does need energy put into it. Number 2, you want to have great SEO on your listings so people can find you. So that is picking great titles, great tags, and writing a really great description. And number 3 is picking a product that is researched. So we don't want to just jump on the things that everyone jumps on. We want to pick a well-researched product that is ideally trending, so has really high sort of search volume and sales and really low competition. Because when you pick a product which is low competition, basically it's going to be easier for you to break in the market as a new seller. You're not going to need a huge volume of listings to compete and get those sales. It's going to be a lot easier for you to jump in and get those first sales that's going to cause the momentum for you to continue to build your store. So those are my 3 tips. Focus on those things. Everything else at the moment, you can go back and polish later. If you don't feel like it's finished, set yourself a deadline where you're like, yes, I'm going to polish until this point, and then after that, no excuses, my listing is going live. Now, I wanted to also talk a little bit about community, because it's something that I wish I had back in when I started my business. I didn't find it for a long time. And to be honest, building a business, it can be lonely and it can be hard. So having those people that you can sort of fall back on, the people to cheer you on and be like, I went through this too, or I can help you with this, or keep going, it'll get better soon. Those are the people that you really want to have by your side and in your corner, I guess, cheering you on. And along with the emotional support, information really loves company. Like, it's a really easy way to fast track your growth as an Etsy store business owner by looking at like everyone else's work, what people are doing, how they're problem solving, how they're finding trends. All of that good stuff can help you grow so much quicker. Now, let's talk about the mountains and the plains. Back in the day before the internet, like thousands of years ago, when there were just little settlements of humans, basically there were settlements who were in the mountains and there were settlements who were in the plains. Now, the ones who were in the plains, they grew so much quicker than the ones in the mountains. And that's because of the flow of information. Like, because they were easily accessed, people could go from settlement to settlement to settlement, and with it goes the information. And that's why these sort of settlements in the plains were so much more advanced than the ones in the mountains. It's because the spread of information and that ability to collaborate and learn from each other, it was just so fast tracked in those sort of plain settlements. And the same can be applied to any education, any way of learning anything. So community is amazing. Find your community, absorb from them, just be that flower who's just sitting there taking in all the light. That's what you want to do when you start out as an Etsy seller. You want to learn as much as you can as quickly as possible. Now, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. My name is Jessa Bellman and I teach all things digital products, passive income, and Etsy. So if you loved what you saw and you want to learn more about this, I put out new videos all the time. So feel free to subscribe to my channel so you get a notification when I put out a new video. So that wraps it up for me. Have a wonderful day and I will see you soon. Bye for now.